Greetings and salutations, my young Padawans. We are here with another fantastic episode of the Triple C. We are your hosts. I got Foggy Knight here with me.
What's up?
I am Lee. We've also got my boy Ray there in the back. We are going to talk about all things Star Wars today because we just had the recent Star Wars announcements. Was it Star Wars Day?
Star Wars Celebration
Star Wars
in London.
Celebration. They announced a lot of cool things. Before we do that, though, big special thanks to Nomadic State of Mind. They've got some fantastic sandals, beachwear, whatever you can find out there. It's summertime, guys, or if you're living there somewhere where it's 24/7 summer, you're missing out. Hit them up, grab some stuff. You'll really enjoy it.
This is the way.
This is the way. So without further ado, we will jump right into it. Wow, lots of great announcements, man.
You ain't kidding.
I mean, we just did a couple of, if you guys are watching the show, we just talked a couple episodes ago.
Oh, we want to see.
Yeah, about some things that we wanted to see. And guess what? A lot of the things we talked about, I mean, they didn't really hit the nail on the head, but they were very close.
Pretty close, yeah.
We were
with some.
Fairly close with some. So keep watching, guys.
Yeah.
We know the future.
And and one of the things, too, like we talked about before, it had been so long since they announced. We just want to know where's the cinematic universe because we've been years without a Star Wars film and it just isn't right in a world with no Star Wars on the big screen. And now we know.
Now we know. And it says something too, right? Because everybody was like, oh my gosh, there was all these Star Wars things that were just getting announced and then canceled. There was no movement in a lot of them. They were all stagnant. But, you know, guys, they really just came out of nowhere and just said, boom, no, we're working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We have a real plan. And here it is.
And a nice mix.
Laid out, and we're going to break them all down.
Yeah.
A really nice mix. A really nice mix of things, man. So, Ray, without further ado, why don't we jump into it? Tell us what is our first topic.
Our first topic is Acolyte.
The Acolyte.
Yes.
Take it. Run.
Oh, man. So this is, and I'm glad they're doing this. We've had so many shows and movies that are, you know, for the most part centered around heroes. We got, Mandalorians and we got Jedi. This is a dark mystery thriller based around the dark side. We're going to go back. I believe this takes place 100 or a couple hundreds prior to the prequels. So we're going back in time, which is good. We talked about that. We wanted to go back in time a little bit. Taking a darker approach, they've gone very mystery heavy into the actors they've cast in this that have had mystery backgrounds or some form of performing in dark centered projects, and we're going to be focused around the dark side. I think we're going to get a Jedi, a apprentice, and a master that's basically trying to uncover a mystery, and we're going to see how that ties into the dark side of the Force, the Sith. I'm very excited about this one. I think that the dark side has always been a little more interesting than the Jedi have their code and their rules. The Sith have always been like, whether it's been Darth Maul, as we touched on, barely any screen, but just the interesting aspects to who he was, kind of working in and how the Sith work in the shadows. This is going to be fleshed out and kind of focused on that. So very excited. What were your thoughts on Acolyte?
I'll just piggyback on what you said because you're right. Every character that usually from whatever Star Wars trilogy you're looking at, every character that usually stands out and pops off the screen is the Sith Lord. Yeah. Whatever Sith Lord.
Vader, Maul, Kylo. Boom.
They're all right there. They make the biggest impact. So to really explore that side is really exciting and really interesting. I think that it's going to be definitely a... people have always said sometimes the Disney kind of Disney-fied. Yeah. Star Wars up, what I mean? I think this one's going to be, like you said, more gritty. It's going to be darker, and I think it's a little bit tougher.
Hopefully like that Andor vibe or even darker. Yeah.
You know what I mean? More adultish vibe, I'd say. Bring it on. I think it's really exciting to see and explore that little side of the universe, I think. In my opinion. Yeah. And I believe it says the end of the High Republic, I think, is the actual time. So very interesting to not only get some on the dark side, but also see that time period prior to the prequels and where just the world is at that point. Ray, what are your thoughts on Acolyte with the focus on the dark side?
That is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. I love the dark side. I don't know. It's just the cool side, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, there is no darkness to it. It's just the cool.
And the cast has been great. We got Daphne Keane coming back from Logan. Yep. Forgive me, I don't know the guy's name, but the main character from Squid Games is going to be in it.
Oh, yeah, nice.
He's one of the main characters. basically, if you go down the list, every actor has been a part of some like either thriller, mystery, or like Daphne, Logan, which was a very dark comic book film.
And now she's doing the Golden Compass
Yep.
series on HBO Max, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'd be curious, how dark do you think they're going to go with this?
I think we have the ability to go as dark as, what's the darkest film you say they've put out? Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'll.
Or Rogue One, yeah.
Rogue One,
everybody
Rogue One
dies. So,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the vibe.
Yeah.
I think that's the vibe we're gonna. We won't see, and we'll probably get some crazy Sith.
Yeah.
Killings and stuff that. You know what I mean? Seeing the Sith really just go to town.
Yeah.
Which. Hey, like I said again, I'll repeat what I said. Bring it on, man! I'm very
excited. And it's cool based off like the novels. That there were in the High Republic there were so many Jedi that had roles. We think of Jedi and we think of like Kenobi and we think of Luke that are out on this one particular mission. But back in that time. They had jobs, so there were at that point in time Jedis that were detectives. That was their role, and they have these really cool. And I hope they do this, like gold and white robes. They're not like what you see with the tan and the brown. They're white with gold, and they look really cool. But I think following that, seeing Jedi with functions and jobs in a little bit of a different state than we see them, even in the prequels and in the main trilogy, will be interesting to see from that side, and then realize that the dark side's coming to power. It'll be cool. I would assume we're gonna get some epic lightsaber battles.
Oh my gosh,
which is what we want to see.
Yeah, right. Who doesn't love those?
Bring on the lightsabers. What do we got next?
Next, we have the Ahsoka trailer.
Oh, this was great. This is the first. This is the only one we really saw like footage.
Right. Exactly. From, we spoke a little bit about how I'm not really familiar on our previous episode. I've seen all the live action, love all the live action stuff, but I'm still more of a original trilogy guy. What I love for you guys who you two, right, who love the Clone Wars and all of that stuff, is and I get it, and I feel the excitement because I guess that's how I felt with my DC and Marvel characters jumping into the live screen, seeing this animated stuff come into live action. All of these animated stories with Ahsoka and stuff like that is now happening, and seeing carried on stories that were started there by the same guy who created this universe, Filoni.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I think it looks awesome. I've gotten to know her through the Boba Fett, and then Mandalorian. She was in both of those seasons. So I've gotten to know her live action through there. I think Rosario Dawson does a fantastic
absolutely
job
perfect
with that. I like that. It's kind of interesting that doesn't consider herself a full Jedi yet.
No, she was a Jedi.
But I don't think
not
she's
a Jedi anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She doesn't.
You need to watch Clone Wars.
I know, right?
Find out why.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just I think it's really great. The footage looked fantastic.
Yeah.
It looks like it's also a little bit more in a different vein than some of the other Star Wars.
It looks fun, but it has that more adult approach. It seemed a lot of lightsaber action too. Again, more action fights. She looks great. I think it's great with Ahsoka. She's become, in really a short time in comparison to Luke or Vader, such a fan favorite character, and she was created in Clone Wars, is the Padawan to Anakin. So obviously there's that immediate intrigue of who is this? And then she kind of goes, been rogue for since he turned, and mentally she's all over the place because her master's now Vader, and she's had to be by herself away from the Jedi and kind of in hiding. So. And then to see her with Rebels.
Yeah, let's say with your character, I think it's cool that you guys get to see the storylines were there answered, because there's characters. I mean, Ezra is a big part of her show. I think she's searching.
So yeah, exactly.
Him, right?
Yep. Her and Sabine.
Yeah. And Sabine and then
Hera.
Two characters. Yeah, Sabine and Hera carried over from that into the live action.
Yep.
It's really awesome.
And not only that, but we're getting, and he's in Rebels, but then we got the animated people. But then this character that was really made popular by novels, Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's really taken off as this big bad, and now we're getting him as the big bad of the show, which was teased in Mandalorian in her episode. Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? So we knew it was kind of coming, but we're going to see him and be acted by Mr. Mickelson, who voiced him in Rebels, and he is a badass. And not only that, I think he's gonna, and we'll get there, set up to be the big bad. I think for that whole Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Boba Fett time period, it's gonna lead to him. But to see glimpses of him is gonna be unbelievable.
No, I definitely think it will. And do you think that Ezra will make an appearance?
Oh, absolutely.
In this,
you see a little holocron vision of him. We just got Zeb in the last in the 2 weeks ago in the Mandalorian, who's in Rebels. We got a glimpse of him as a cameo, so I'm sure he's going to be in there. I think we're going to get all the Rebels.
And maybe help me out, because for people who might be just watching this and who are also maybe just fans of the Star Wars films. This is a continuation of that story, how it ended in Rebels, right?
It ends in Rebels.
With her, Ezra and Thrawn both lost in.
Yes, exactly. So Ahsoka comes a little later in Rebels when we see her, and she's kind of in the state of where she is in Mandalorian, where she's been away for a while. She's an adult now. And then you get in Rebels, you get one of maybe the most famous moments where you see her fight Vader, realize it's Anakin. You get his first helmet split in half moment with that, and then the show ends with her. Ezra's left with Thrawn, and they go and search for him, and this is years they're searching for him. We even see in the quick trailer, Sabine's got Ezra's lightsaber. Okay. And she at one point is wielding the darksaber in Rebels.
Right.
So she's a very interesting character. Her and Hera got a lot of love. Like Hera especially, she's a unbelievable. What about you? I know, are you a big Hera fan as well? Because I think she's fantastic in Rebels.
Yeah, she's cool. I like her.
There you go.
Man, a few words. Wars and Rebels, right? Is that right? Or just was it?
It was kind of both. I didn't watch Rebels completely. I mean, no, Clone Wars completely. I was kind of drawing while I was watching it, but I mean, I watched them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd be to your point. It's an exciting time for people who were into the Clone Wars and Rebels, and to see these characters. A lot of them created, fresh from that in live action.
I can't imagine how exciting it is.
And yeah, it's really, really, it's exciting. And the trailer looked fantastic. It really did. I mean, outside of just the nostalgia of seeing these guys, it looks fun. It looks action packed, and I'm very excited for this one.
So, since we're still talking about how these characters are jumping off from these animated stuff, let's take a moment. Bo-Katan, right?
Yeah.
She's been one who is a character I had always heard of peripherally, but now I've seen her a lot in live action.
She's great.
She's a favorite character.
She's killing it in this. She's been the best of season 3 of Mando.
She has been. So out of these characters that are jumping off from the animated to the screen, do you have a favorite out of those?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka is?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's really the main character of Clone Wars, and just her characters is great. Between you have that kind of to tie with her with Anakin and his teaching, and she's got a lot of him in her, a lot of him in her, and it's funny because she was created post the movies, and you're there's so many oh, what if she would have went to Mustafar instead of Obi-Wan, because he was actually closer with her than anybody,
right.
Including Padme. If it was her, he probably wouldn't have turned, but I hope there's just some form of just her trying to and I was so hyped in Boba Fett to see her, because it's always been, I wonder what she'd be like with Luke, because that's their son, and you have that moment of, she said he did some, and she was like, so much like your father, and it's so brief, and you're just I want more of that.
Right.
I hope we get to see in her show maybe her visit him and just talk.
It has that possibility, right?
Yeah.
It opens it up because we saw her.
I want to see that initial talk of this is who I was, and let me, because she really knows him more than he does, what I mean? And have that closure. They're really the only two, so I hope that's part of the show. But yeah, of all the projects, I mean, this one is even more than Mando. I think this is a series I was this is the one I've been waiting for. So I would say her. I also really like the Hera character. She's like Space Mom to the rest of the group. She's and she's an amazing pilot. So
oh really?
Yeah, she's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
the ghost ship.
The ghost ship. Yeah, see, I know the ghost ship. No, well, all very exciting stuff, man. So when they announced that, when I know everybody, I wonder how many episodes did they say? Was it
I don't know. I hope it's 80. 80. Yeah. I know Rosario's already pushing for season 2, so that'd be just awesome.
They're creating an exciting world.
Yeah.
In their corner.
And Thrawn, I'm very excited to see Thrawn. He's not like in Rebels a lot. And I know I've read the first novel, but I know there's like a lot of novels about him and even him with Vader, so I'm very excited to hopefully learn more about him in a deeper way and see from his side of things, just like him and in any of the Mickelson brothers. Now both of them will be in Star Wars live action together.
Yeah.
Great show. I'm so glad and it's cool they didn't even announce it until the celebration, which was they brought him out. Everyone was like, yeah.
And I think everybody just expected them to focus on their Disney Plus side of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think there was any expectations to name all these films because again, like I said, all we'd heard about throughout the past few months or years or even is all these new things up and then fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
Fall to the wayside. No movement.
Yep.
And so, bam, they really shocked everybody.
Yeah. I think Ahsoka is going to be awesome. Let's jump to the three. I believe the three big film. What's next?
Up next, we got Skeleton Crew.
So we have one more, and then we'll dive into the film.
Yeah.
You take this one.
Skeleton Crew. Stranger Things has made such a huge impact on the world, and Goonies even before that. Star Wars is like, I'm not going to be left behind.
Yeah.
And now they've got their own version of a Goonies and Stranger Things type of thing. This is actually starring Jude Law. It's basically, he's a Jedi, and it's him, and I guess he's got a daughter, and I'm thinking maybe a couple of her friends. They somehow get caught up in some adventure, but they find themselves lost in the subspace. I think that's where Ezra, what I mentioned earlier, Ezra and Thrawn were somehow lost. And I think that's probably how they'll probably tie that into somehow Thrawn and Ezra being found. That's my guess. Speculation here. But basically, those guys get lost in subspace. It's almost like if you guys remember Star Trek Voyager out there. Anybody remember that? It's like Voyager getting lost out there to take them. They didn't know where they were in this unexplored space section, and that's exactly how it is. But with a Stranger Things vibe to it, and he's like their Hopper. Jude Law is. I think it sounds pretty cool. I think it's different. I think now they are setting it up to where you can't really just say I'm not going to watch this. I mean, you can, much like a Marvel, but I think they're kind of Marvelizing things to where everything is going to tie into something. You know what I mean?
At least with the TV, they're really planning that in that time period, like everything is going to connect.
Yeah.
And then what really I think sealed it is when they announced we'll get to the movie that's going to They said it's going to bring it all together and bring it home. It sounds exciting. I think, having Jude Law in Star Wars, never a bad thing.
Right.
And Jon Favreau, touching on as well, talking about, these aren't like people that were trained. These are ordinary people that were forced into an adventure, not unsimilar to Luke, when he first started and learning his ways. So taking a different approach, a different point of view into a space adventure. And then I think you're right. I think it's somehow going to tie into the Ezra and Thrawn, which will build excitement for it. So, but I like that they haven't really announced too much about this show, so it's kind of a mystery of it is exciting, and I think it's cool that they're, we have like the dark side, and then we have a focus on a legacy character like Ahsoka, and then something new, with new characters that we can come to like, which I appreciate.
And I think I left out too. It definitely will be tying in because those space pirates that have made a big appearance in Mandalorian.
Yes,
this season, kind of main antagonist. They somehow these kids witness them doing something or whatever it is, and that's what makes them have to get out of Dodge, so to speak. You know what I mean? So that it definitely has just tie-ins.
Gotcha.
Just tie-ins.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Let's get on to the big three because I think it's going to take up a lot of our time with talking about the three. We finally, again, have been told what movies are going to come out within Star Wars. So let's kick it off, man. What we got?
We got James Mangold with the Jedi Origin Story.
See it. Well, I mean, let's just start with the best one. First off, James Mangold, enough said. We just announced him a couple weeks ago for Swamp Thing.
Yep.
And now here he is again with Star Wars. I think I don't even think it's arguably probably one of the top 5 directors in Hollywood today. Whether you're Ford v Ferrari, Logan, one of the greatest comic book movies. I mean, he doesn't have a bad day at the office when it comes to
the upcoming Dial of Destiny.
Yep, Indiana Jones now currently, which I'm assuming they probably built his relationship with Lucasfilm through that, and they probably, which also makes me more excited for Indiana Jones because that tells me they like what he did, and they're like, all right, let's see what you can do with the Star Wars thing. What I like about this as well, he's also writing it, and I think he's giving people. And, I'm not going to say I called it, but we're going back. We're going way, way, way back, 25,000 years back to the origin of the Force, origin of the Jedi, and how did it all start? And I love it because we have nothing to base it off of. We have no pre-speculate. I mean, this is going to be all amazing. So what's the world like?
Biblical epic is how I've explained too. You know what I mean? I think it will be. And to just stop on James Mangold for a hot second to talk about, yes, fantastic director, but this guy has now put his stamp on. You just kind of mentioned him.
Unbelievable.
DC, Indiana Jones, Marvel with Logan.
Yeah.
A few years ago, and now.
Got his Oscar with Ford v Ferrari a little bit. Yeah.
And that was Star Wars. It's just like
on fire.
He's got just like all the main genres out there. You know what I mean? Franchise.
Maybe he'll do the Harry Potter one.
Maybe, right? Maybe he'll be the next guy that does that. He's got his fingers in everything. No, but I think this has a. I don't think I at one point said I was the biggest fan of finding out what happened millions of years ago or whatever in the Star Wars galaxy. But now that these movies have been announced, I mean, I'm getting on board. You know what I mean? I'm getting on board, and especially with the talent they have hired behind the scenes, and I know whatever tale they're going to tell is going to be good.
Yeah.
My whole problem has been give me characters that I can care about.
Yeah.
Like I cared about those original.
Yeah.
Characters from the trilogy, then I'm on board.
Yeah.
And they hadn't really done that.
Besides just a name.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They hadn't done that for me, in the latest movies and stuff like that. So I'm really holding out hope that this new wave of films, much like The Mandalorian has done for me, it has revitalized my hope in Star Wars a bit.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this film, man.
Yeah, and I very much wouldn't be surprised if barring it's good, which I would be shocked if it wasn't because it's James Mangold, its own trilogy. Probably. I mean, it's not just gonna be one. You know what I mean? So. Maybe who knows, the next one will be the Rule of Two, where we learn of the birth of the Sith. You know, I mean, there's so many different ways you can go about this, but I love the untapped knowledge of what they can do. You know, the state of the world. Give me something new and fresh of people I can care about in a good story. So to your point, I think it's going to be fantastic. Ray, what are your thoughts on this Origin Jedi Force tale?
I know absolutely nothing about it, and I'm excited to same with the dark side Acolyte. You know, I just want to see all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
the origins and all that.
Do you think the Jedi is the main selling point for a lot of? Or do you feel like that takes away from? Where do you fall in Star Wars? Are you more of it without the Jedi stuff? Or can you take a Star Wars movie without the Jedi, or do you need Jedi?
I think Andor kind of answers that, or Rogue One. You know, I mean, granted, you have Vader for a couple seconds, and that's the best part, but. I think it's the world. I think you don't need a Jedi. That being said, I will always take a Jedi.
Of course.
But I think even versions of Clone Wars and Rebels, there's episodes where there's not. Granted, you can't. I don't know if you could do like a C-3PO movie or something like that. But I think the whole thing is if you can make a character that you care about. Like I would watch a movie on Wookiees.
Right.
Like the Wookiee War, or something like that. Absolutely.
Don't we get a Wookiee Jedi?
Oh hell yeah! It's great.
Is it coming up soon, or do we already talk about it?
Gunji in Bad Batch. There's a Jedi in Bad Batch. It's a Wookiee, and there's one in Clone Wars when one of the earlier seasons, Ahsoka takes a group of younglings to find their kyber crystals, and there's a Wookiee amongst them. So
I know there is. I'm saying that I think they just cast the guy who played Chewbacca as this Wookiee Jedi.
Oh yes,
and that's what I was trying to think of the guy's name.
Which project does he get cast?
I don't remember.
Is it Ahsoka?
Either. it might be Ahsoka. I don't know, but I know that there's definitely somebody who's been cast as a Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
You know what I mean? I haven't seen that, nor did I even have.
I'm curious if it's Gungi, because in the Bad Batch, which takes, well, I guess it would depend. Yeah, because after Return of the Jedi is Bad Batch, right? No, that's after the prequels. So no, never mind. I'd be curious if it's Gungi though, because they just announced him in Bad Batch, and he's like young, so he'd be an adult by the time this came out.
Okay,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Bring on the I'm always for Wookiees.
Yeah,
yeah, love it. But yeah, I think as long as the story is good and you create characters that you can relate to, then the Jedi just add to it. You know what I mean? But I don't think it has to be. What about, where do you line with that? Do you think it has to be?
I don't know if it has to be either. I think, to your point, since Rogue One became one of my favorite Star Wars films, and there is no Jedi except for the last hot second with Vader, I'm totally cool without it. You know, and now Mandalorian has been rocking some really great episodes.
I gotta tell you what, Mandalorians are just as cool as Jedi.
Yeah, they really are. They've got that mystique behind them as well. That they're. I mean, Din Djarin, I think, is probably, we'll talk about more, probably one of the more popular Star Wars. He's more popular, better character than any of those characters from the latest trilogy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Better, light years ahead of.
And I would say, other than maybe Obi-Wan and Anakin in the prequels too, like he's right there.
He's a great character.
Baby Yoda's. Way up. Grogu, he's way up the list.
Yeah, and I think that we'll see much more. I think this is going to be great for Star Wars that they're bringing these characters, just to go back into the characters from the animated stuff into live action. I think that's going to just give them a lot more juice. To move forward with it. All these more endearing characters, because that's where all the characters were created. All the best stories were told from Star Wars the past few years was the animated things. Before the Mandalorian and stuff like that. So to have these guys go and now have their stories realized in live action, I think this does nothing but give Star Wars more juice throughout the years.
I can tell you another thing, and we've talked about it. We talked about it in the last Star Wars episodes, and I know Ray will touch on this too, or appreciate this. And we talk about Thrawn. If they really want to throw a holy moly in the Ahsoka, the last episode of Clone Wars is Ahsoka and Maul going at it, and it's this big lightsaber duel, and their counterparts, and Maul's still alive. I bet you Darth Maul makes an appearance in Ahsoka, and they have their lightsaber duel, because you got to have some lights. I mean, we saw the one Sith, I'm assuming he's a Sith or Inquisitor in the trailer, but like, if you got Maul, keep him a secret. If he shows up, because Maul in Clone Wars is a whole nother level than the Phantom Menace, because you hear him talk and you see, I mean, he is literally the epitome of a
rage.
Sith. Yeah, of rage. It's all he cares about. What do you think? Would you how big would you flip out if Maul shows up in Ahsoka and you get that lightsaber duel again?
I'm flipping out whatever Maul.
Exactly.
I love it.
If you're a Maul fan, you need to watch Clone Wars.
Yeah. I know, jump on the wagon.
I know. Come on. I'm looking at you.
I know for sure.
The Jedi, that's going to be awesome. What we got next?
Up next. All right. We got the Mandalorian movie.
I was surprised at this one.
Yeah. I'd heard, there'd been rumors now for a while.
They've been teasing
stories
stuff
that were being told that were going to culminate. I
thought it was going to be in a TV show.
That's what I thought too. So yes, that was very surprising. I wasn't surprised about the story being told. The format that it's being told in is what was surprising. That they're getting a movie, which I think is fantastic, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like, I think somebody even asked him this, Favreau or Filoni, during the celebration. They're like, he did his best not to avoid it. But it's like the Avengers. When Marvel put together told the first movies with Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man, and then brought them together for that film, that's what he's done, because we'll see the story of Ahsoka and Mando and Boba, all kind of, and I think even the Skeleton Crew, maybe not, I don't know, we'll see, come together and
the Rebels will be there.
And the Rebels, so many cool things, man, that are happening and being told. I think this is really exciting.
And they said it's going to wrap it up. So this is going to be the end of Grogu and Din's story, which is, I personally thought, that either season 4 or season 5 Mando was going to be like that event. Like it was going to be like a crossover. But yeah, the movie, it threw me for a loop. I'm super excited for it, to see everybody come together. It makes me more excited for the remainder of the shows, to see like what it's building up to. Again, I think it's going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think that's why it'd be hard to bring in a character that's that kind of a big bad and only use them in Ahsoka, kind of like in the shadows. Like, he's kind of like a Thanos, where you kind of build on him, and then it's like, okay, here's your big event.
Right.
So yeah, that would be quite the epic tale if they were able to pull that off and see them all together. At the same time, it makes it sad that Mando's coming to an end. But what I do like about it is, so many shows we've seen have dragged on and on and on and on, and they never came to an end because of the popularity.
Exactly.
Whereas in the story suffers. I mean, we just saw like with The Flash, for example.
Yeah.
That was long overdue. I think we're getting to the point it's time to wrap that story up and move on. And what a thankful run that show has been for Star Wars in general. It brought Star Wars back. It really did.
It revitalized them. And it just because the show might be ending, it's not
You'll
saying
see him again.
Yeah, it's not saying this is the tale. I mean, yes, this is going to be a movie that wraps it up, but for all we know, it's planned for a trilogy, or at least 2 parts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he will continue to live on. It's a character now that has been planted and ingrained in everyone's Star Wars mind. And the good thing is, he's always covered up, because always.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You'll never know.
I tell you what, I guarantee you, for you, I never thought. You bet you never thought you'd live in a day where Boba Fett was the second most popular Mandalorian ever. No way. Because Boba Fett was such a craze.
Yep.
And Din's got him now. Like, he's the guy.
Yeah, he totally has. But that says a lot about the Boba Fett show too.
Yeah,
the best 3 episodes.
But I love them together. When they
did a great job together. The finale of Boba Fett, that was awesome when they were fighting together. Even when he very first showed up in Mandalorian.
Oh, that was Boba Fett.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That was Boba Fett, so that was really cool too. So it's definitely been some cool things. But I think this is the movie that I am very excited about, just because of to see these Rebels characters that you've liked
all
so
together
much coming together in live action. The Mandalorian, Bo-Katan, I keep talking about her because she's quickly become one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, me too. She's great.
That have jumped from live action jumped into live action. So yeah, I'm really
here's the question.
And to see how the last 2 day we're recording, we're coming up to the last 2 episodes of Mandalorian. Which I think this is going to be. I think these last 2 episodes are going to be jam-packed and actually kick us off into what maybe these movies and give us more answers, or give us a leadway into where things are going to go with the films. Yeah,
I think, and they've been teasing like Moff Gideon. I'm sure we're going to see him again. I'm going to guess he's going to be with Thrawn somehow at some point. My question on the Mando movie: will Luke be in it?
I mean, he has every. If they did that, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say he's not.
I mean, he's like there. Like, what's he doing? Like, he's gonna be with Ahsoka.
I'm only gonna say no, because if I say yes, I'll be so disappointed when he's not there. So I'm gonna set my expectations low. Do I want to see him in it? Yes, I would love to see Luke in the Mandalorian film. Do I think he is? No. What do you think?
Okay, so I have another side one. I'm like, what if? Oh man, it's really hard to say, honestly. Like, my heart and my head, like, I'm kind of the same. I'm like, I don't want to say yes, because if it doesn't happen, I don't want to be disappointed. But I'm like, you put him in Mando, which is still the greatest, might be the happiest moment of my life of seeing in a movie or TV. I think it is. I think it's like the greatest moment I've ever witnessed. And then you bring him back in Boba Fett. He's got to be in Ahsoka at some point, like a combo. He's just too big to just like not have. Like, you show them together, and then you're just like, that was it.
I see him being in that.
But also, there's years between. We're supposed to, and assume that they've been together for years. Not like, it's not like weeks go by between episodes or between seasons. So I'm assuming Luke's probably started his temple or trainings. What if Kylo's in it? But he's a Jedi still.
So young Kylo?
Young Kylo.
That would be interesting. Now you're just going. You're taking me down this.
Because by the time that movie happens, I know. I'm just saying.
Me down this path of disappointment. That would be fantastic.
I know.
That they might as well just announce that Luke. I think we have a chance of seeing Luke in us. Okay. Wait. I'll listen.
This might be your moment of getting Leia Han and Luke.
He's really trying to hurt me right now. You really tried to.
But they could do it.
Like
they're all alive.
Yeah, they could do it. They had a chance to do it. Would I love it?
But Dave knows.
He does.
Dave and John know.
But here's what I think.
And Dave's directing this, by the way. We should. Yes,
that is true. The guy who has created, who really has kept the life of Star Wars going.
George Lucas's Star Wars, especially.
Yeah, especially is being given the keys, and he's created all the characters that Lucas didn't create that are fantastic. Filoni did. You know what I mean? Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, I think.
Yep.
I believe he created those too.
Yep. Grogu.
The characters from Rebels.
Yep.
And Din Djarin and all the most recent stuff. I mean, he's brought some fantastic characters into this world. I think Luke has a better chance of showing up in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Than he does the Mandalorian films, only because I feel like if they do put Luke in there,
that's all you're going to see.
That's all you're going to want to see, man. And then whatever little tidbit of stuff he does will not make anybody happy. You know what I mean? Or it won't make me happy if he's in there for a hot second to do whatever.
Yeah.
And he needs to be. He's such an important character that he needs to be if he's in it, then it needs to be an important storyline. Yeah. Not just a cameo. You know what I mean? So I think that's why he won't be. Now, do I want to be disappointed in my bet that I said no? Yes.
Yeah. Man, I know my idea minds are flowing already. So Dave, if you're listening, or if you're watching our show, which I'm sure you are, Dave Filoni, here you go. Because the time period is just when because we still got a while before that movie comes out, and I'm like, okay, in time period, it's okay, we're after Return of the Jedi. I'm like, what if, again, Thrawn, I think is going to be the big bad.
Right.
I know Moff. So by that time, I'm assuming. At this point, Mandalorian, they're trying to get Mandalore back. So you're gonna have all these Mandalorians. I'm assuming they're gonna fight. It's Grogu and Mando's story with Ahsoka. So you're gonna have all these. The battles are gonna be insane because the Empire is basically gonna come back with Thrawn to some form of capacity. Mm-hmm. And I think we're gonna see something epic there. That makes me think that Luke's gonna show up. Thrawn is the one who gets in Kylo's head.
Right.
Maybe Grogu dies.
Oh, wow.
He ain't in the sequels.
No, he isn't. Wow. And
you see the First Order start with Kylo, and that's how it ends.
Now, that would be cool.
But I don't want to... But at the same time, it's Mando's such a beloved character. I can't imagine them ending it on a sad note. You know what I mean?
And he's still considered a baby, so you'd be matricide almost.
Just saying, he's not. He's 50 though.
Well, I know what I'm saying. And the way they treat him on the thing.
No. I think it'll end on a happy note. I think that it'll be a great galactic fight with whatever you have. Ahsoka, you'll have all these characters. I think it's going to be similar to Rogue One, where it's just going to be this huge spectacle and amazing experience. But I do think Luke will. If he's not in it, you'll hear of him. He'll be somewhere in the presence.
Be made aware of his
or maybe at the end you'll see him starting to train. Maybe Grogu goes back with him or something like that. I don't know, or maybe just stays on Mandalore.
Maybe
because he's the Mandalorian now, so it very well could just end that. But it would be so. I'm just how could they tie the sequels into? Because it's going to start flirting with that time period, with the First Orders.
Do you think Favreau and Filoni and all those guys, do you feel like they wish they could just scratch those sequels altogether?
Oh, and just do their thing?
Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like
what's crazy because you have
and
two, Filoni knows what George's vision was going to be, and episode 9 was supposed to be Duel of the Fates. I told you it had a title.
Right.
Luke fights Maul. It would have been perfect.
Yeah, it would have been, man.
Kylo does get. Kylo is Han Solo's son, and George that was actually George's idea, which was kind of cool. I don't know if he killed Han because all three of them are together in his version. But I do think that they wish they could kind of do their version on it because they just know what that world is supposed to be, and I think they would run with it.
They do it so much better.
But they could. This is their chance. I mean, they have this world and universe within TV that. They can kind of tell a version. Granted, maybe not exact, but I mean, Luke is around. He's an option. Ahsoka's around, and for a lot of people, she's right there with the other two. So you're going to be able to do something special, and also because you're wrapping it up, you don't have to worry about where's it go from here because this is it. Right. It does make me a lot more excited for the shows, though. It really does, because I'm really excited with where this goes. Ray, what are your thoughts on the Mando finale? Really, I guess Mando finale, Justice League Avengers build-up movie.
I have to keep up with it. Honestly, I can't say for sure, but honestly, you guys get me so hyped for this kind of stuff. I gotta go watch it immediately.
I think this movie is gonna do nuts. The box office.
I do too. I do really do too, because it's gonna be. This is the one like I said, I'm really excited about, and it's with the characters they've got and pulling together, and however they leave it, because whatever show they end this to lead into the film is gonna be just phenomenal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm wondering what show it'll be that leads into the film. Maybe it'll be another season of Mandalorian for all we know. You know what I mean?
Favreau said he did write season 4 of Mando already.
So yeah,
I don't know if that's a tease of maybe it's the script of the movie, or
is there a year yet? They have no years.
If
right?
not, I don't know.
Release
I don't
dates
know
that I saw at least or heard of. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see when it does pop up.
Yep. Well, speaking of sequels, what is our final one?
The final one is Rey is back to start the Jedi Order.
This one really caught me off guard.
Yeah.
So we're getting a movie 15 years after the rise of Skywalker with Rey starting the Jedi Order over again, apparently, with Daisy coming back. She came on stage, which was awesome. I think, say what you want about the Rey character. I'm actually not the biggest fan of the Rey character, but I think she is great as Rey.
Right.
No fault to her on any of the things, the sequels. It was just very surprising to me with the divisiveness of that trilogy that they would want to continue on down that road. So this one was the biggest, really? Of all of them to me. What was your opinion when you saw they were doing it?
I gotta share the same sentiment, right? Because the Rise of Skywalker didn't leave everybody with the best taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
And we've said before, it killed the cinematic franchise of Star Wars for a number of years.
Yeah.
So to take a character that arguably
with the headline of it.
Yeah, she was. And I guess out of the three, she does come out the best. And what I mean by that, out of Poe and Finn.
Well, no fault of Finn.
I know, no fault of Finn, but I'm saying, right, but I'm saying the writing let writing let the whole trilogy down. But I think out of those three characters, I think she does come out the best.
Yes.
So I see why out of any of them, why you carried on her, because I didn't care about Poe. Finn I cared about him at first, and then they didn't know where to go with him. You know, so I could see why they chose Rey. And it's an interesting story to tell. It's a story that we would have liked to have probably seen Luke's story. Yeah, you know what I mean?
They're doing Luke. I thought the same. I was like, this is Luke's story. They're just telling with Rey.
Exactly, right? So I think so I'm curious to see what pops up now. What because
something's got to happen.
Evil just won't die in this galaxy. This reign
balance, man.
Of Empire, I know, just keeps coming back up. So I'm wondering, it was the Empire, then it was the First Order.
Here comes Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar. If they did Darth Jar Jar, if they somehow took that character and redeemed him, then Filoni and Favreau, they are indeed God. You know what if they somehow take that character and create, and we're here talking about that in a couple of years now, talking about our show, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Darth Jar Jar is one of the best characters that's ever come out of Star
Wars. He's better than Darth Maul and Vader put together.
But I'll never put anything past those guys. You know what? They can, if anybody can do it, they can do it. So we'll see. But no, I mean, hey, as long
gotta give it an open mind.
Gotta go with an open mind. And my thing is, and I'll say it again, is the writing has been bad in the cinematic world. That's why I think I was losing interest in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Give me some characters that you have recently I can care about and put them in a great story. I'm there, man. And we can give Rey do her some justice and
in a fleshed out plan too. I think that was the problem with the sequels, and we touched on we started with one vision and went to another vision and back to another vision that was trying to make up for the last. I mean, it was a mess. So I think seeing her fleshed out will be cool. Just judging off of what's been said, I don't think Finn's gonna be back because he's like, I am not working for Disney again, because that role was supposed to be a lot different than what he actually got. Finn was supposed to be a lot more. Yeah. They even teased it. Force Awakens, we see him with a lightsaber.
They would have to give him a hell of a story.
Oh yeah,
a hell of a story to have him to even
be in it.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have to do Finn, but it's going to get recast if they do, which I don't know if they'll even do that. Yeah, it'll be interesting. There's so many to it because she didn't really do Jedi training, so it's gonna be like, well, how are you gonna build a Jedi? You're not really a Jedi either.
What does she know?
I'm still kind of mad.
Right?
I'm still salty about the fact that it's not Rey Palpatine. She changed her name. Like the whole thing with Luke was like, it's just your name. Like you're a Palpatine. Like you got to own it. Like I'm a Skywalker. I owned it. And then she was like, nah, I'm Skywalker. Yeah. It's I had come out of the sequels, and I think we touched about it before, thinking that if they did anything, and they ruined it, is I would have liked to have seen Ben Solo story, because I thought Kylo was the redeeming thing of that trilogy. Yep. He was great and an interesting character, and to see what he would have had to go through to redeem what he did as Kylo. As a Jedi, because he actually trained with Luke. He's got the ties and the knowledge, and whether Rey was a part of that or not, I thought that would have been something that I think a lot of people would have liked to have seen. But now that he did, maybe he'll be a Force ghost. I don't know.
Well, do you think we'll see Luke and Leia's Force ghosts?
No.
You don't think so?
No. Maybe Kylo's.
It could be his.
Yeah. If it maybe Luke's,
because maybe all the reasons they were watching her as she burned.
Yeah, I know.
Lightsabers, so therefore it makes me feel like they are there to guide her.
They're there in spirit, I guess.
No, literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I know. I don't know where they go with this too, because again, it's one of those things like, who do you bring in, who do you not keep out from the sequels? Like, what's the threat? Because the First Order's gone. Like, is Snoke really alive? Like,
the threat's
because of the clones with Snoke, we saw all those Snokes in the tubes. Like, it better not be Palpatine again. I can tell you that.
No, if they did that, I don't think they would go that route again. If they did, they again, then we would Favreau and Filoni. That would be terrible. They know better than that.
Yeah. So yeah, but open mind. I'm willing to see what they got. I got to say, of the three announcements, that was the one. I would say that was third of the excitement level.
Yeah.
But I do think it's cool to have a strong female character that's going to lead the way. And more importantly, hopefully, maybe they'll use her like Luke and Han of the sequels, where maybe she's the headline, but she's not the main. Maybe it'll focus on some of the students, or whoever she's training, and that's what the story is really about. And she's just kind of the one building she's like the Dumbledore, if you will. You know what I mean? But there's a Harry, Ron, and Hermione character that's really the focus on them.
See, I don't know if Daisy would have signed up for, maybe not. I mean, who knows? I can't.
I mean, zeros.
You know what I mean? But signed up for that where she's not going to be the main character.
Yeah.
I do think there'll be some parts of the story you're talking about. Yes, definitely there'll be students that are focused on or whatever. I don't think they'll just be. And probably I'm sure one student will be
bad
focused on the others or something like that. But I think I would be really surprised if she came back just to be a supporting role.
Yeah. The good thing I do like though is, and it's what we were talking about in the beginning, is we have the James Mangold, which is way in the past. We have Acolyte, which is kind of in the prequels, but in the past, but not like super far back. Then we have, we have all these time periods basically. Then we have Ahsoka, which is post Return of the Jedi in the Mando time frame, and then with Rey, it's going to be more in the it's moving in the future,
15 years into the future
after So we have the past, we have the present, and we have the future kind of going on. And I do like that, because you do need you can't just go in the past for everything. Like keep a world going.
I agree.
And I do hope that they do a good job of being able to do that and blend in. And I think that's one thing that we have been asking for, is don't just keep it in a 10-year window. And now they've listened and they're starting to do that. So I'm really excited. I think that they'll probably announce some more stuff between now and then. I saw maybe Knights of the Old Republic. That time period might be something that's more explored as well. So it's a good time to be a Star Wars fan. I can tell you that much.
It is. It's a big difference than when we recorded that episode.
Yeah, like literally a couple weeks makes a big. Thank you, Star Wars Celebration.
Exactly.
Star Wars Celebration. That's
all
great
stuff. Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, I think have we covered it all?
Yeah, I think we have.
All right. I know before we drop off, I know we talked about a little bit about it. You saw some recent films.
I did, yeah. I got the chance to kind of see a couple of the hotter films that have come out. I saw Super Mario Brothers, fantastic film. I know it's one of those weird ones where the critic score and the audience score could not be farther from it's definitely more audience. It's fun, it's funny. Jack Black as Bowser.
He became Bowser.
Great, he really did. Yeah, if you like that world, they really kind of Easter egg everything. I loved it. And then I saw Air with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. One of the best sports movies I've seen. I very highly recommend that. If you like movies like Moneyball, very similar to that, kind of the story behind the story, absolutely fantastic. So nice. I would very highly recommend seeing Air if you get the chance.
Very cool. But more importantly than that, my friend, you got to meet.
I did.
One of the individuals.
My guy.
One of the guys we've spoken about today.
Also, you got to go to MegaCon in Orlando as Anakin Skywalker, which was awesome. And got to meet none other than Anakin himself, Hayden Christensen, which was a dream. You'll probably see the picture here in Sith Anakin with my lovely friend who looks strikingly like Natalie Portman. Padme, no, Liz Wonder. We had a great time and got a chance to meet Hayden. Very, very nice guy. His line was within that con, just for context, guests, there were Zachary Levi, some of the Mandalorian like Carl Weathers and Katie Sackhoff and Ashley Eckstein, and then we have Sam Raimi was randomly there. We had John Berthal, the Punisher. We had Charlie Cox, Vincent for the Kingpin was there, and they were it's all lined up. Rosario Dawson was there. They all lined up on one. Hayden had a floor all by himself because he was sold out of everything. It was absolutely insane, and it's so cool to see the love he's getting. I saw, ironically enough, back to Celebration real quick. Like when he came out, I mean, he was like moved to tears they were just chanting and shading his name, and it's so cool to see him get his flowers now.
It's a complete 180 from where it was. We had such hate on him for his performance in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And in the past few years, it has definitely turned around. And I'm so happy he got a chance to redeem himself in Kenobi.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
he did.
As well. But no, to your point, it is great that he's finally getting love from the fans.
Yeah, a really nice guy, very soft-spoken. I'm sure he was exhausted by the time he saw. I mean, I'm talking thousands of people, but very, very nice. The one thing I love that he touched on real quick, and it kind of touches back to what we talked to before, is he had talked about with Anakin, one of the things that really that he's thankful for is the Clone Wars Anakin and how it fleshed that character out so much more, where they started to love his Anakin because of that Anakin. You know what I mean? And I think it's to touch on, we said Dave Filoni with whatever, you get his version of Anakin, and we touched on with Clone Wars Anakin is awesome. Right. Like he is so, like he's the guy. Like it's like to put it in perspective, is like, with the Justice League, you have like all your big players, but then like Superman walks in, and you're like, that's the big guy, and he is so clearly that guy in Clone Wars. And we're talking with Mace, Yoda, Kenobi. He puts the chosen and chosen one. Like he's that dude. And to see that, and even for me, that to see that version, and then when Hayden came back, it just made it so much more like, man, he was that. And then he felt like it made his story much more tragic because he was that guy. And even see, like, you hear Rosario in Mando when she's Ahsoka say, I saw a Jedi's fall, the best of us. And like, if you watch the prequels, you're like, was he the best of us though? Like in that they don't portray him like that. Clone Wars, you're like, no doubt he's the best. Which makes that twist, and to me, it peaks Vader up because you're like, oh, he's that dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, Superman just went bad. Like now, how are we gonna stop him? And that's how Vader is meant to come across. Like, good luck. Like he shows up, you're done.
Right.
So it's very cool to see him acknowledge that.
That's cool.
And say that, and get his flowers now, because I think he understands and how much it means to him. And it was very, I've met some celebrities and stuff like that, but that was probably the first one where I was like Anakin's that's my guy, and there he is, and that's him, and
what
it's
an awesome experience.
And to meet him as Anakin, meeting Anakin as Anakin was also, it's like, oh God. And he was just like, you guys look so cool and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just very, very surreal.
That's so awesome, man.
Yeah.
What a great experience. And it ties right into the whole Star Wars talk that we were having today. But guys, I think we've said it all. We've covered it all.
It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan.
It really is. A lot of awesome things to look forward to here in the future that we're all very excited about, and we look forward to talking about them with you guys as well.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all the love you've given us so far. Thank you very much. We appreciate all the comments. Let us know what you think about the show. Of course, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to check out Nomadic State of Mind. Again, awesome attire for you to check out. Some summer attire. You're missing out if you don't go check them out. All right, guys, that's it for us. Jake, been a pleasure as always. Ray, good times, my friend. Thanks again, guys. Later.
This is the way.
Peace.